Let's now take a look at how we might sketch the graph of a quadratic if it's given to us in the completed square sort of format. Now I want to do this in two parts. I want to look at it when we've got it looking like this, where there's no value at the end here, no constant at the end, which means that the vertex actually occurs at the x-intercept. But I also want to take a look at when we do have a value on the end here, which will be in our next video. But let's first start with this form. Now, essentially, when we're using the vertex and the axes intercepts to sketch these graphs, we've got to identify first what the vertex is, then what the axes intercepts are. So the vertex, when it's in this form, it's kind of nice when it's in this form. We know that the vertex occurs at the opposite sign of whatever's in my brackets and the same sign of this constant value at the end here. Now, the opposite sign of what's in my brackets here is -2. That'll be the x-coordinate of my vertex. My y-coordinate is the constant at the end here, and if it doesn't exist, it means it's 0. So my vertex here occurs at -2 and 0. Now, you notice that the vertex is either the minimum or the maximum of my graph, and because it occurs on the x-axis, it means that the vertex in this situation, it's a special situation, is the same as my x-intercepts. So I don't need to go ahead and find the x-intercepts anymore. What I do need to find though is the y-intercept, and we know that the y-intercept occurs when x is equal to 0. So essentially I substitute 0 in for x into the top here, so y will equal 1/2, 0 plus 2 is just 2, so 2 squared is 4, half of that is 2, so my y-intercept is 2. So now what I can do here is I can go ahead and produce a sketch of this and include these important pieces of information. Now from here, I can see that my turning point's at -2, my y-intercept's here, so I'm going to have this convex type graph in here, which my a is greater than 0, so that told me that anyway. So now I just need to produce a symmetrical graph that just touches the x-axis. So in summary, if we've got a special situation like we do have here where we've got our quadratic in its completed square form where the constant value here is missing, so in other words it's equal to 0, we're going to have a quadratic that just touches the x-axis. So in essence, all we need to do is identify where the vertex occurs and then identify where the y-intercept occurs, and we can sketch the quadratic including all its important pieces of information. In my next video, what I'm going to have a look at is how we sketch quadratics when this value here isn't equal to 0.